Hello and welcome to Carefree Blues, a podcast and supplement to my column as part of the Soccer Yanks podcast network. I'm your co-host Kyle.
I'm your co-host Comedy.
And we are here today to bring you episode 7 of the Carefree Blues podcast. Bit of a short week as far as recovery time from episode 6, but we just have the one lone game, and of course if you unless you've been living under a rock, you obviously know that we should be excited to talk about the game today against Liverpool. So we'll just go ahead and we'll just dive right in. 8th minute, Liverpool scores on a deflection. Up until that point, they were just dominating the game. It looked like we were asleep. They had a couple close chances in the first few minutes. And then 8th minute, Sean just kind of gets a little lucky, deflection off Cahill. Amity, what are your thoughts on the first 8 minutes, the way that we looked?
We definitely, as you said, they came out firing at home. The entirety of the crowd was behind them. Their signature, "You'll never walk alone" prior to the game, and everyone gets hyped up. So it was nothing that I didn't expect. I felt like they came in waves. We had some good possession early on. We were confident despite them pressing high. Ramirez and Hazard both turned their defenders about 40 yards from goal and then went on to break because, as we saw, if we were able to get past that first press, we had good success going in on behind. But we didn't really have much success doing that, so we conceded, thanks to a deflection, as you said. It was kind of unlucky, but we gave Chan about 10 yards of space to either dribble in or shoot, and you can't expect a quality player not to take that opportunity. So I think the entire team had what I like to call Cahill syndrome for like the first 10 minutes, where we just weren't picking up players but backing up until they're about to shoot instead. Like, they came up on the front foot, and we were just trying to counter it. And I think that was really their best spell of the game.
Yeah, I would agree. It was definitely their best spell the first half, and they really didn't show much signs of life until around the 75th to 80th minute.
The last 15, they were pretty quality as well.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, they were really only a threat. You could say for a third of the game at the absolute most. There might have been spells throughout the second half, before the 75th. But, yeah, I mean, it was just, they scored off of an unfortunate deflection. It hit off Cahill, correct?
Yeah, hit off Cahill. It looked like it almost hit Terry, but it passed Terry's shoulder, hit off Cahill's, and then bounced the opposite way on Courtois. He never had a chance.
Yeah, and in the first half, Emre Can, I thought he was Liverpool's best player in the first half. I kind of didn't understand when they brought him off in the second half, but I thought he played well though. I don't know how old he is, but but just for being young, playing against the likes of Chelsea, I thought he did pretty well. He had a chance earlier than the goal that he scored off another deflection that barely went wide too. But eventually we responded. Just 5 minutes later, roughly, corner kick from Fabregas. Actually, no. Before I get into the next goal, something that I felt that I noticed was that I felt that after Liverpool's goal, we sort of made an adjustment. Matic, if you go back and watch the goal, it seemed like Matic was sort of on an island on his own when Liverpool was coming at our back line. And, Fabregas was in the area, but it just kind of seemed like basically what I'm trying to say is after we conceded, it seemed like Fabregas, he dug into the center midfield and sort of stayed near Matic for the rest of the game.
Yeah, I think that I noticed the exact same thing. On the goal, you can see Matic kind of drifting towards the middle, not really defending anyone. Fabregas is trying to make his way back towards the center of the field. But definitely, after they scored the goal, I thought Fabregas was playing a lot more honest. In the first 10 minutes, he was kind of playing staggered up in front of Matic, and that's usually a space that Oscar occupies. So I think we got our spacing right again after the goal. I think it was just static defending, honestly. I don't think that Matic would have honestly been caught out on such a simple ball. Not simple, but the fact that Sean was just striding down the middle of the field without any pressure. I feel like Matic was maybe defending out wide and got caught out. But I did really like the fact that Jose went with Ramirez in this situation because he provided a defensive cover a lot of the time that we don't normally have from that side. If it's even when Willian's playing, Ramirez is far more defensive minded. So, but he still could get forward. But I think that was a really big help for us. Then.
Yeah, and Ramirez, he had a very good game, a very underrated game, I would say. I don't think that many people really credited him for being a crucial part of this game. But like you said, he's much more defensive minded, but he has the ability to get forward at times, and he was very good. I mean, him and Terry both had a 95% pass completion percentage, and he created 2 chances along the way too. So Ramirez, he had a very good game, and it was good to see just after he was out for roughly a month, right?
Yeah, he missed, I think, at least 3 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, he missed the last international break, and then he missed the Maribor game was his first game back?
Yeah, no. I think that was his first game back, but he didn't play, or he was able to feature. But I don't remember if he made the team list or the team sheet for QPR. Do you?
I can't remember. I know he came on late in one of the games. I can't remember which one it was. But nonetheless, Ramirez, he was very, very well. And I mean, you kind of called it. You said that I thought that maybe Ramirez was going to replace Fabregas, and you called it though. I mean, he replaced Willie in this game. Well, at least to start.
To start, yeah. But I mean, I think that was a good move from Mourinho. A, it's respecting Liverpool's attacking prowess going forward, and B, it's just having a great defensive cover, but someone who has an engine who's going to run the entire game. So
exactly,
I feel even though he wasn't at full fitness, he gave his all, which is great. You always get that from a Mourinho style player, and he's definitely fits the bill.
Yeah, yes, absolutely, and it gives us sort of like a security blanket in case Fabregas gets caught too far forward, and you know that Ramirez is going to track back for him. So.
Exactly, and I almost thought I was kind of worried at the beginning of the game we weren't going to have that killer bite because Oscar is always tracking back, and Fabregas might linger, but he does his pretty diligent work for his defensive duties. But I thought we might have a little bit of a stagnant offense going forward, but it was the opposite. Ramirez did a really good job of linking up with Ivanovic and/or the player on his side, and they made quick triangle passes in order to release Ivanovic, who was always getting forward. So I think Ramirez did a good job of. If you watched on some of the set pieces, he remained back. And he was the last man several times. And
I noticed that very late in the game that he was on corner kicks. I think it was him and Hazard were in the back, back towards midfield,
center circle. Yeah, exactly. And even in the first half, he was doing it. Ramirez, he was staying back with Azpilicueta. So I think that he definitely had his responsibility told to him, and he's, as we said before, he's one of those players who does his job.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. So. Yes, the about 13th minute or so, we get a corner kick. We pretty much responded to the goal right away. I mean, we started taking some shots on net and whatnot, and we get a corner kick. And Liverpool, they go with their zonal marking, and it failed them. Like the whole team was covering one 10-foot zone. It was bad. Costa had a free header for the most part. Towards the back post, and let me see if I can get it to count how many players we had in behind their zone.
There's 8 of them, and there's 4 of us.
Okay, yeah. So
on the second chance.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah, on the second chance. And for everyone that was so against goal line technology, which if you were against goal line technology, I'd assume that you're probably a lot older, and you just, you're against any change ever.
Just a traditionalist view.
Yeah, but it took 3 seconds.
Exactly.
The ball crossed the line at 13:37, and at 13:40 the ref blew the whistle. So it took 3 seconds for him to get the call right.
When that's definitely a call that someone would have blown or bottled, as they prefer to say in Britain.
Exactly, because the ref, at least the sideline ref, he may have caught it, but the field ref, there's no way, the angle that he's at, he can't tell from there.
No chance. And I looked at the reverse footage. I can't see if the flag goes up. I can't see if he points to midfield. So
right, and you can see the ref look down at his watch, and I I forget what it is. There's like a light that comes on or something. I forget.
It's like green or red, essentially.
Yeah, yeah, and that's literally all it is. So, and I can't remember who the announcers were, but the one guy said something. I tweeted about it, but he said something along the lines of, "There's no way you can tell from There's virtually no way you can tell from a camera angle that went across the line." And I don't know if he like realizes that goal line technology is a thing or what, but
yeah, it doesn't matter about the camera angle, my friend, because the technology is sound. So
exactly.
I like what you said prior to the goal. I mean, prior to our goal, as soon as we conceded, we had an immediate response. You know, between the 9th and the 13th minutes, like we created 3 chances. We had 2 corners, the second of which we scored from. Our counterattack play and our pressing in general was, top of the line. And I think that that shows the spirit of our team. Like, even when we go behind away from home in a hostile environment like Anfield, we're bossing the game. We're confident. We have belief in our ability. We're just going to play our game, and our goals are going to come. And I love that attitude that almost everyone seems to have.
Yeah, and like you said, like Mourinho, he didn't continue to back down. Whether that was their tactic in the first 8 minutes, that they were just going to kind of let Liverpool come at them and just kind of let the game go on, and kind of the crowd will slowly not tire themselves out, but at the beginning of the game, the crowd always is probably the loudest they are all game, aside from when there's goals scored.
There's so much energy. It's in the stadium at the time, and everyone's up for it. And especially to go up a goal at home, it's tough for an away team, especially at Anfield. So, I mean, the character of the team shone, brightly. And I think that I like the fact that Mourinho came. I think he, not necessarily like he would say this, but I think that by putting out a team like this and by showing the tactics we did, I think he wanted to prove a point about last year and this year. I think that's the perfect illustration of the difference between last year's team and this year's team.
Yeah. Yes. Absolutely.
Nevertheless, we still won. But,
yeah.
And then we scored 2 goals at Anfield. But just saying, we did it in different ways. And that's just Mourinho. Like, he has the ability to switch tactics for the occasion. And that is kind of what separates him and a coach like Wenger, for example.
Yeah, yeah. And Cahill, I guess we'll sort of go into Cahill here, because since he scored the goal.
Oh, yeah, before we go, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Who won the header for the first ball?
That headed it in towards the goalie?
Yeah.
It was Costa, wasn't it?
Exactly, yep.
Okay, that's what I thought.
And there's 3 guys around him. He wins the header, and Terry gets this awesome flick on it towards the goal, which Mignolet, to his credit, made a great save on. But I love the fact that Diego Costa's winning headers on the corners, too. Like, he's not just that, get in behind forward, or he's so much more complete, and I think that's huge. But go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Just one little thing on Costa there,
yeah.
Which we'll get more in depth to him later. But yeah, I agree though that it's good to see Costa winning headers, because he's never coming into Chelsea. That was sort of one of his weak spots, that he wasn't really recognized as being an aerial threat. So
yeah, it's nice to see that, especially in the Premier League when there's big boys out there. So
yeah, exactly. So Cahill. I still haven't decided where I'm at on Cahill for this game. I'm just kind of looking at some stuff on Squawka now, and I'm not like huge on performance score, because I just kind of feel that it's still open for interpretation. Because they just kind of base that off of their statistics. But he had 11 clearances, and it looks like 8 of those came inside the box. And he had 2 blocks, which one of the blocks we'll get into later. But yeah, I'm curious what you feel on Cahill. Maybe you can convince me, because I'm not really sure. He was scary at times, and he was phenomenal at times.
Yeah, Cahill is he's a strange beast. I think that at times he's the perfect defender for our system, and the times that I mean are when we're dropping back as a team into a compact unit, and we're defending as a unit. When he's not playing one-on-one, essentially is what I mean. But when he gets in a one-on-one matchup, I feel like he has almost too much respect for his opponent. So he'll back off a lot and provide them with space. And then when they go to shoot, he's good at getting in blocks, because he closes that ground well. I said that last week, but I don't think he's got that killer instinct. If you ever watch Azpilicueta when he's on a one-on-one, he goes to the man. He forces the man to make a move, or he's very good at shepherding. But
Yeah.
Cahill stands straight on. You gotta pick a side, put one foot forward or the other. You can't just be standing flat-footed straight on. So that when he taps it and goes to run by you, you have to either foul him or have a great turn of pace. And no offense to him, but he's not the fastest guy in the squad. It just so happens he does manage to get those last-ditch challenges in, and that is kind of his saving grace. But we can't be depending on that all the time. And it's not on him necessarily, because Ivanovic in this new system is leaving him so exposed. It's not fair, because teams are obviously seeing how high up Ivanovic gets, and they're trying to press the attack down the left side, which makes sense. And that's why we have players like Matic who can cover, and eventually, and it's happened already this season, I think eventually it's going to be that could be the reason we might lose a match, because we're going to have a player doing more than he is actually capable of.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree with a lot of that. Ivanovic, like you said, he just is as far as he can get up the field at times. It's not really fair to Cahill. I don't know if switching Cahill and Terry as far as sides at center back are concerned. I don't know if that would help. Just because Azpilicueta is much more defensively minded, and maybe Terry could pick up some of the slack that maybe Cahill is leaving open when Ivanovic gets forward. I don't really know, but I guess I just wish that Cahill would kind of challenge people like Azpilicueta does. And I understand why he doesn't do that, because, like you said, he's not exactly the fastest guy on the squad. But it's just it's tough seeing players just have time and space to work with, because players that aren't the most skilled in the world can suddenly become a world class. Well, not world class, but they can have bright spots just because Cahill's just kind of backing off and waiting for them to go at him.
Yeah, I mean, I think it has to do also with like as you said, I don't know if I would want Terry to move out of his position because of how consistent Mourinho's been with the back four, like with picking the same.
Yeah.
But I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing Azpilicueta back on his right side and Luis starting on the left and Ivanovic playing center back for Cahill sometimes. But then again, it's a matter of time until Terry's gone, so he needs to either cement his place and get used to it, or Zuma or Ivanovic need to prove to Mourinho that they could do it as well. I don't think we're going to be seeing him dropped anytime soon, but his ability to make up for his mistakes is essentially his best asset.
Yeah. And I don't know a ton about Thomas Kalis. I don't know if he's much more defensively minded, but rumor has it he's coming back in January.
Yeah, I'm happy about it. He was a huge player for us in that Liverpool game last season.
It's kind of
he made an amazing performance. I think that if he can do that consistently, he would have an argument to make. But I'm happy that Mourinho's bringing him back. It's kind of like a warning, saying, hey, look, I don't know if he's actually coming back or not, but if he did, and even the mention of him doing so motivates the current center backs to do better.
Right, exactly. And it could also be something that Mourinho's just kind of saying, it'll diversify the squad even more, because Ivanovic, he can play center back, so that would give us 3 guys really that could play right back, in Aspi, Kalis, and Ivanovic, and then 4 center backs with Zuma, Cahill, Terry, and Ivanovic, and then 2 left backs. I don't know if Kalis can play left back or not, but yeah, I mean, I think it'll be interesting to see come January, and it's crazy to think that that's less than 2 months away.
Yeah, I know, man. This season's flying by.
I mean, some of these. It's crazy to think some of the guys that are in the squad. Well, I don't want to say some of them as in a plural, but Sherla, I'm looking at you. That they may not be here at the end of January.
Dude, I don't know. Honestly, with the way Moses is playing at Stoke, and I know I'm going to get dragged through the mud for this, but with the way Moses is playing at Stoke, he's looking better than than Shirley is, and definitely better than Salah. So
Yeah.
I think that they need to show something to Mourinho, because he's not the type of coach to sit around and wait on idle hands. Like, he's not going to keep you if he doesn't think you're worth it. Mata found that out. Luis found that out.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
You could definitely argue that the former is top class.
Yeah. And this, I'm not saying at all that this is going to happen. I could see it happening, that Schürrle could go out. I think that Salah has a pretty likely chance he could go out on loan, and recalling people on loan is kind of, I guess I don't want to say it's not really common, but I could see it happening though. I mean, if need be, I could see Moses coming back. He's played very well, and if we hadn't signed Felipe Luis, I could see Bertrand coming back. Bertrand's played very well this season too.
Yeah, Bertrand's been doing so well at Southampton. I'm really, really impressed with both him and Nathaniel Klein, who are both in my fantasy team, by the way, just saying. Consistent points every week, guys, just in case you needed a player on defense.
All right, so I'll leave the floor open to you. Who would you like to discuss next? Unless you have anything else to finish up about Cahill.
No, I think we've definitely gone through Cahill. I want to talk about Hazard on whoever he was on. Whoever he was marking him for the first half in particular. I thought that he was not necessarily dominant, but he made the right decisions, which isn't always his forte. He should have scored twice, but that's neither here nor there. But I feel like he just, he's, as we said in a couple podcasts ago, like, he's working on his development. Clearly, Mourinho wants him to be a certain kind of player who contributes more than just assists. So his finishing definitely, it could be better, but there's not much I can say to improve his game. Like, he's been getting better and better for us every week. He puts out a performance. He's consistently the most fouled and completes the most take-ons around Europe, let alone in the league. So I think that his consistency is going to be something we really kind of live and die on this season. But I don't want that to necessarily be the case. I want other people to be contributing just as much. So I think that between him and Matic, their consistency levels are really going to be indicative of our positive or any successes we have this season.
Yeah, Hazard, he was again extremely vital, and I think I tweeted about this that we have been crucial on Hazard's finishing, as has pretty much every Chelsea fan that's been watching this season. But in this game, you certainly can't blame him for a lack of trying. He had two shots that I don't want to say they were going in, but they had a chance to find the back of the net, and he had 5 shots, and I think 2 of them were blocked.
Yeah, Johnson blocked 2 of them in the first half.
Yeah, so it certainly wasn't for a lack of trying this game. But again, Hazard was, playing both wings, opening up the defense for runs in behind. He was phenomenal.
I think that he's making other players better. I know a lot of people say this, but in particular, he's making those players who don't have to do as much to get free, to get open. Like, if you watch his interplay with Oscar or Fabregas, they usually either give him the ball back immediately, or they go and overlap him. And when they do that, they pull 2 or 3 defenders out of the midfield, and Matic steps up into all that space. And it happened 2 or 3 times in the first half against Liverpool. Oscar and Fabregas would clear the midfield, either making overlapping runs or trying to make runs through the middle. And their defenders would follow them, and Matic would step up. And it was really, if he had maybe a better first touch or more of the inclination to shoot, we could have gotten better chances on goal from there as well. But I think that also speaks to our ability to press, and especially against Liverpool during this game, we had them on the ropes for long spells at a time. For example, we had in the first half, it took them 4 minutes to get the ball out of their own half. Like, Mignolet kicked it out. Chelsea had Hazard all the way up on Skirtle, parallel with the 6, and then Costa all the way up on Lovren, parallel with the 6, trying to make sure they couldn't play out of the back. So Mignolet was forced to kick out, and he had some awful, awful kicks in this game. But they could not get the ball out of their own half, and the crowd was what really made me happy. Like, Liverpool fans were starting to groan, and finally, when Sterling booted it out for as hard as he possibly could, the crowd cheered as if they scored. And that kind of respect that Chelsea are getting, I love it. We're at Anfield. Their fans are worried about us after they scored a goal. That's that kind of game and that kind of menacing sort of team that people know about, who fear that even when they come to their place, that's a team that we haven't really had in recent seasons.
Yeah, and they a lot of their they had a lot of interceptions like right in front of the 18-yard box.
Yep.
And our front four were just pressing their back line, and they just like you said, and it aside from that 4 minutes is impressive in and of itself, but throughout the almost entirety of the game, for 2/3 of the game at least, their back line was having trouble, switching fields and passing it back, and multiple times Skirtle and Mignolet both, they'd receive passes where they kind of looked at the other guy like, why did you pass me the ball there? Because, they'd have someone coming up on their back or whatever.
Yeah.
And they in the first half, I thought Liverpool fans should have been happy that it was only 1-1 going into half, because it really could have got nasty.
Yeah, I'm surprised we didn't get more out of that first half, honestly. I thought there were 2 or 3 goals in there, and that's 2 of those were Hazard shots blocked by Johnson. So there definitely could have been more goals. We had the opportunities. We had them on the ropes, just momentum in and of itself. Like, one of the examples you and I were giving about Ramirez when he was dropping deep during set pieces, like, I can recall 2 or 3 times the ball would trickle out to him, and then he's immediately recycling it up the opposite side. And Azpilicueta did very well to get forward this game. He actually provided the assist for Costa's goal, but in the first half he was also getting up pretty high, and they weren't defending him. I don't know if it was because they had a plan to keep on Hazard and Oscar in that area, but he fed Matic one time, and he also fed Costa, who eventually dribbled it, and it was deflected off of Skirtle. But I think that was one of the reasons that they were unable to get out, is that all 10 of our field players were up in their half, doing everything they could, to press. And it really works. I've seen it a lot from Chelsea this year, and that's why we scored so many goals early on, because we come out flying. So this game we couldn't really do so, and we obviously were conceded first, but our response was so great and so quick, and it really shows our belief, as I said before.
Yeah, and it was nice to see that even after we scored the first goal and tied it up, even then we weren't sitting back and playing like we did for the first 8 minutes. Like, we still remained to go right at them. And something I noticed that it seemed to be different from the past was a couple games previously, whenever we would be pressuring other teams and then the ball would get cleared out or whatever, and we'd sort of pass it around the back 7, 8, 9 times to try and find the right pass to get it going forward again. But this one, it was, the ball would get cleared out, we'd center it in to Cahill or Terry, they'd play it out wide or something, and we were just, boom, going back forward again.
Yeah.
So there wasn't, we didn't really give Liverpool a ton of time to breathe once they cleared the ball out.
I think that was, definitely something we probably practiced this week in training, because, as you said, Cherry would get the ball, it's one touch to Cahill or vice versa, and it's immediately back up the side. Even Matic and Fabregas were dropping very deep to get the ball, and I liked how we didn't play many long balls, but those we did, especially to the outsides, were won by Costa. A couple of them over the top, he fouled Skirtle, and that ball wasn't really on today, but the switch fields, either from our wing backs or from our center backs, was really effective. And I think that because Liverpool were playing their, I guess you could almost call it a 4-3-3, besides the fact that they had pinched in wingers, we had a lot of the space on the width was ours, the width of the field, because they were playing really narrow. And I like that we can switch that style of play. As we said in earlier podcasts, we've gone with the inverted wingers to break up teams who are refusing to drop anybody less than 10 men behind the ball. We've done it against Aston Villa. I think we did it against Everton when we needed to switch things up. But I also wanted to say one thing about the possession. How even though we're playing a possession game for the majority of the time when we're in their half, as you said, we're playing as fast as possible out of the back. And in the 30, I remember this because I was so impressed with it. Okay, so in the 41st minute, Terry has the ball, and he passes to Matic, who finds Hazard, who finds Costa, and it's about 5 to 6 seconds of, boom, 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 next pass, and it's so forward thinking and positive, and it gets us a corner. So that type of play clearly must be effective against Liverpool, or it must have been effective for us, because it was definitely something we were trying to do.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. And I want to switch over to the other side and just touch base, see how you feel, because we haven't really talked about this aside from right now. I really thought we did pretty well shutting down Sterling. I didn't really think that we gave him much of a chance to be an impact on this game. Early on, I thought he did pretty well. I believe he was the one that kind of got the attack going forward on Liverpool's goal. I think he received the ball, and I think he got past Fabregas or Ramirez. I can't remember. And then he had a lot of time and space to work with, and then he found Emre Can, and Can shot it. But I thought overall, I thought that Ivanovic and mostly Ivanovic, because it looks like he spent most of his time out on the left side. So I thought that just overall, though, I thought we did a pretty good job of shutting down Sterling.
Yeah, definitely. And even when he was playing through the middle and Matic had to pick him up, he rarely went straight forward. He mostly had to go lateral or go backwards. And Ivanovic, second week running, or rather third week running, if you want to say it, he's been shutting down dangerous wingers. So
yeah. I mean, Sanchez back in the Arsenal game, and then Di Maria, and then now Sterling.
Yeah, I mean he's been rather excellent when he's doing one-on-one defending, and I think that's something that I would love for Cahill to take a look at. But because Ivanovic was a center back, he's been made a right back, and
yeah,
for all of his qualities as a right back, he clearly would be able to perform as a center back because he has that ability too. But I think it's really down to Ivanovic that we were able to handle Sterling so well, because Sterling didn't want to go in and play against Matic either, so his best option was going out down the outside. And there were 2 times that I really do recall him getting the better of Ivanovic, as in he got past him with or without the ball. Balotelli turned Cahill, shock, and played in Sterling for one of them, and there was actually a pretty good move in the end that resulted in nothing. But the other time, Sterling just got the better of Ivanovic with speed, but he didn't get anything out of it. So, I mean, there's the fact that we were lamenting Ivanovic going forward all the time and exposing Cahill. We do need to give him the credit he deserves, because he does do a really good job of one-on-one shutting down of really creative players.
Yes, yep, and I would agree with that. And then I think the last player I want to touch base with, just briefly, Coutinho. He's now I've seen Coutinho play a decent amount, but I obviously don't watch Liverpool play every game. But Coutinho was another one of their few bright spots in this game, I thought. He just like taking players on. He had confidence. But yeah, I mean, I thought overall that Coutinho was pretty effective in the game. And then the other player, last one that I want to touch base on for Liverpool is Balotelli. Well, of course, we can't have a podcast talking about Liverpool and just not talk about Balotelli.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times he was offside, but he was ineffective in my opinion. Just any time they had a chance of going forward, he killed it with any chance that they had, just because he was offside probably more times than he was not.
Yeah, I don't think he's not good for the flow of play. he had a lot of. Yes, he'd win the ball, or he would trek back to the ball and receive it, but he has this kind of languid form. I don't understand really how it works anywhere else but Italy, but he got this. He had a great pass to Sterling to start one. That's what I was saying a couple minutes ago, but he didn't really get on the end of it afterwards. He kind of likes to watch his passes, as some coaches say. But he does have the quality, and I feel like when he gets in behind and he makes an actual positive run, he can do the finishing too. But you didn't really see that much from him. Besides on the Emre Can goal, he was making a good run to get in behind Terry and Cahill, but they didn't really flinch, nor did they go press the ball. So Balotelli is not necessarily Liverpool's weakest point, though, for me at least.
No, I'm not trying to say that he is, but
and I think that he gets a lot of stick from the pundits just because of his reputation and maybe his attitude, but no less than Costa does. But the fact is, Costa's scoring goals, so he kind of gets a free pass.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, when he was at City and scoring goals and stuff, he got the pass to pretty much do whatever he wanted that year that they won the title. But yeah, I mean, like you said, he wasn't their weakest point. He was not the reason they lost this game by any means at all. But yeah, I just it was interesting seeing him play against a team that I care and love and everything. But yeah, I mean, me and one of my buddies, we talk about this all the time about how frustrating of a player Balotelli is, just because he's got so much talent, and it seems like he wastes it at times. That he goes through these spells where Mario's going to do what Mario wants to do, and if Mario doesn't want to do anything, then Mario's not going to do anything.
I don't know, I feel like he is a frustrating player, but he's also a very particular player. Like, he needs service, he wants the ball in possession, he doesn't want to just get on the end of crosses, and he wants to be a working part of the attack. And I feel like his style of play is far more fitted to the Italian league, which I guess has a slower pace and also is more accepting of a bit of I don't know. It has just more personas, rather. I guess you'd say that there's more of a player like Tevez, who people didn't necessarily think was willing to do the work at Manchester United, is now excelling at Juventus. And Balotelli, to his credit, was doing rather well at Milan. So I feel like he needs to be the focal point of the offense, and he's not going to get that at Liverpool because the attacks come through Sterling and, when he's on, Coutinho. So their more creative players are going to get the brunt of the focus, and he needs to just get on the end of things and shut up. And I don't think he's really trying to do that right now.
Yeah, and I don't know how much have him and Sturridge played together much this season. Do you know?
I don't know if they've played a single match together. They might have. But even so, when he comes back, Sturridge is first choice. So
yeah, and that's the thing.
What happened to Balotelli?
yeah. I mean, I don't really know. It'll be interesting to see if they may run sort of a diamond midfield and two strikers and have Balotelli and Sturridge up top.
They tried that when they had Suarez. It was fine because he liked to play off of where Sturridge was, and they didn't both play the same position. I feel like Sturridge and Balotelli are more similar strikers than Suarez and Sterling, so they don't necessarily complement each other the way perhaps a Lallana would, or do you know what I mean? Like Oberyn. Yeah. So it's hard to say that they'll play together, and I doubt it, just because they haven't had much success with the diamond system, but without Suarez, that is.
Yeah, and my gut feeling tells me that they're going to push Sturridge out to the right wing when he comes back, and
I agree with you. They're going to Chelsea him.
Exactly. And, I hope Liverpool doesn't learn their lesson because of what Chelsea did to Sturridge by putting him out on the right. I hope they don't. I hope they don't go back and look and see like, oh yeah, Sturridge was invisible on the right wing. Because I obviously don't want him to gain any ground on us. So I mean, I could certainly see it happening. I mean, they didn't pay. They paid what, like £16 million for Balotelli, so it's not like they need to go above and beyond to prove that Balotelli was worth it. But at the same time, it won't be pretty if Balotelli doesn't get his playing time. So
yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's kind of it's a tough predicament to be in because you can't expect them to not play their like star player. Do you know what I mean? Like he needs to be out there. He needs to be getting minutes. So I don't know. I feel like it has to happen.
Yep. Yeah, I would agree. I think next we'll go to Nemanja Matic. The other day, Mourinho's I can't remember the exact quote, but it was something like Matic is the best player on the team or something like that. But yeah, I thought that, aside from him, which this isn't his fault, but aside from him being on the island on the goal that we conceded, Matic again put in another good performance, another great performance.
Right.
Just out muscling guys in the midfield. Coutinho, countless times, just kind of the players were not wanting to go towards the middle just because Matic he was just eating everything up that came towards him in the center.
Exactly. I mean, Sterling made sure he had. I mean, Sterling didn't have. He didn't have much of good options. Either go down the side and deal with Azpilicueta, or you go down one side and deal with Ivanovic, or you go through the middle and deal with Matic. And it's not really, like, what do you want to pick out of those three? I guess he picked Ivanovic and he got shut down. But I mean, that's not a very good. It's not a very good prospect for any forward-thinking player. Like just thinking about that. And as Jay Carragher said and Gary Neville in Monday Night Football, they're talking about the best Premier League defender, and we said it was Azpilicueta. I'm sure everybody watched that video, but it's not just him, as Carragher was saying. He's like, those Chelsea guys, all of them defend. The entire team is committed to defense. And
oh yeah,
it starts from the back, but it goes all the way to the front. And that's why some players, like Mata and Luiz, who was just kind of like a haphazard defender, but sometimes would put in a very good performance, he just didn't fit the style. And Mourinho knows those are talented players, and like they're obviously performing for their other teams when they can, but in this team, you have to humble yourself and you have to whoop your butt to get back on defense. Doesn't matter who you are, and I think that's why he loves having Drogba back, because he knows he'll kill himself on every set piece to get the first, and that's why I like Costa too, because he was back there winning headers too. We needed him at the end of the game against Liverpool.
Yeah, there was like all the corners and stuff that Liverpool got near the end and set pieces and whatnot. Hazard was the only guy forward. And, like you said, Costa was back, Drogba back. It was, it's always good to see. And Mourinho obviously favors those types of players. And I think that's why Matic is just so key to this team, because it allows for players to go forward, defenders, specifically fullbacks, and still give us cover in the back, because he knows that Matic isn't going to get forward unless we have, 3 or 4 guys already back.
Yeah, and the thing is, he knows when. Matic knows when to get up there. As I was saying earlier, he found himself on the edge of the box a couple times pulling the strings, and it's just his ability to read the situation is uncanny. I think his development at Benfica, it cannot be more highly spoken of, because it's uncanny, his knack of knowing when to be there and when not to be, like when to hang back and when to make that foul. And like, I don't know how he escapes having a yellow every single game, because somewhere in there he's going to make a breaking up foul, somewhere to stop the play, to disrupt a counter, and it's always somehow in the middle of the field, or he's down literally back with the back four defending as if he was a center back. So the guy it's amazing that he can move with the ball the way he does, the technical ability he has for such a big guy, but he's also got the grit, and he's clearly got an eye for goal scoring in those recent matches. So
yeah, yep, exactly. And let's see. I guess next, let's go with Azpilicueta. We'll kind of work our way into the second goal here. Azpilicueta again, just fantastic this game. The run he had was absolutely brilliant. I'm actually kind of surprised that I haven't seen people complaining that the ball went out of bounds on his run on the goal that we scored. He took Moreno one-on-one and took it down the sideline and just kind of blew by him.
Coutinho?
It was Coutinho?
Yeah, I think Coutinho may have been mesmerized because he thought the ball was out, but Azpilicueta plays it around him and then runs around the opposite side, gets in behind, and plays an outside of the boot cross. Like, Dude, as if he was, Cristiano Ronaldo back there. Like I was very, very impressed. Like, and it wasn't the first time. He got forward a lot of times in this game. As I was saying in the earlier on, in the first half he was breaking up there, and they weren't defending him. So I mean, he must have realized that and decided it was his time to get forward. But that was such a great goal.
Yeah, and the pass by Willian was amazing. I mean,
Amazing.
the pass it was perfectly weighted. It was great. But yeah, again, Hazard, he was in the center of the field, opened up that space out on the left, and I don't know. There wasn't really any claims by any of the Liverpool players. None of them really seemed concerned that it was out of bounds. So I don't know if maybe Coutinho he may have slowed down, but it kind of this is not saying that this play was as impressive as this goal, but I can't remember if it was when Madrid. I think it was in El Clasico last year, when Gareth Bale made that run down the left side, and I can't remember who in the world he blew by, but he took a guy one-on-one, just passed it way ahead of him, and just turned on the afterburners and blew by him. But nonetheless, this goal just kind of reminded me of that. That he took Coutinho one-on-one. Glenn Johnson, I have no idea what he was doing on this play. He was just kind of moseying around in the 18-yard box, and instead of him going to the byline and trying to cut that off, by the time he got to the byline, it was already too late, as Piliqueta already crossed the ball. And I think that just kind of egged on to the already Glenn Johnson-y game that Glenn Johnson had. Just not a very good performance.
Glenn Johnson. Can we talk about Oscar killing himself to get into the box, dude, to get on the end of that? Seeing that Costa wasn't there, because Oscar's the one who Azpilicueta is trying to pick out. You notice that?
Let's see.
On the goal, Costa peels back to the penalty spot, and Oscar is breaking his neck to get in, and he would have scored if Mignolet doesn't get a touch on it. Because
you are right. Yeah.
Moreno's never catching him. Moreno's a good 2 feet, good 2 steps behind him, and Oscar's in, but Mignolet gets the tip on it, and it just so happens to fall to Diego Costa's feet. And as you said, either last podcast or the one before that, he's just always in the right place. His first goal scored was off of a rebound, and he just powered it in. I think it was in the Burnley game. And in this one, same thing. He's there waiting. The ball just trickles right out to him as if he asks for it. So the guy just has a knack for knowing where to be on goals, and also for just sniffing out the goal when we need one. Because as he did in this game, and as he did in 10 games before now, I think that was his 11th, right? Or was it his 10th?
I can't remember.
I think it was his 11th in 10 games, but I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, guys, you can tweet at me and you can complain. But it's kind of an amazing thing that he's not the one making that run in there. That he's waiting on the edge. He's like, maybe something's going to come out. There's, I'm going to be patient and find my goal. And just as he would anticipate, there it is. So the guy's, it can't be said enough how much he's helping us along this season, because last season we would have tied that game probably.
Yeah, and especially as of late, I kind of gave Oscar some stick at the before the Man City game, I believe it was, where I said that last season he didn't really make much of an impact on bigger games last season, but this season, especially lately, he's been very key for us. And again today, Saturday, excuse me, just another great performance.
Today. It might as well be today. I've been watching it I'm watching it as many times, so I'm watching it right now. Come on, let's be honest.
Yeah, but like you said, the Oscar run, honestly, I didn't notice. I didn't really look at the Oscar run until you mention it now, but I'm kind of freeze framing it on DVR, and when William plays the ball, Costa is inside the center circle, and I think Oscar is out on the wing.
Yeah.
I think that's him.
Yeah.
Or yeah, there's two of them. Okay, so Ivanovic and Oscar are both out on the wing, and Oscar sees the free space open up in the middle, and he makes the run. He's even with the back line when William plays the ball on the far side, and
he's farther away. He's farther away than anyone else in the field, and he gets
exactly. He's further up the pitch than Costa, but he has a longer run to the goal than Costa does, and he just comes flying off the TV screen.
Yes, you don't even see him. He comes out of nowhere, and then he's just there. I mean, if Mignolet doesn't get a touch on that ball, Mourinho is left for dead. There's no way he's recovering in time. So,
Exactly.
credit to Oscar for realizing when he could be making the best of the situation, because the guy's obviously he's box to box, and for him to be killing himself to get in there to score, it just shows a desire. I love that. I love seeing him, and Costa as well, reading that he's making the run, so he should just hang out, because if anything, he'll be there for the rebound, which he was.
Exactly, and it's just something we've seen from Oscar this year, just constantly busting his butt.
Yep.
Whether it's a lot of it gets noticed getting back defensively. We've mentioned this before many times. Actually, it seems like every podcast. But yeah, this game though, the second goal, busting his butt to get forward, and perhaps this was unintentional. Something I just noticed after the goal that Liverpool could have had a problem with, fans could have had a problem with, was Oscar didn't have much control over it, but he perhaps, by him laying on the ground, interfered with Mignolet a little bit. Not to say that Mignolet had any chance of saving Costa's shot, but
oh yeah, there's no chance Mignolet's stopping that, man. It's
no, but yeah, I mean, just phenomenal run from Oscar. Costa, it's his ninth Premier League goal in 10 games. Took him 10 games, his 10th Premier League goal in 9 games, 9 Premier League games. And just as a comparison, I know these are just, these are totally different things, but just to bring it up, just for the sake of bringing it up, it took Drogba 23 Premier League games to score 10 Premier League goals. And to get 10 Premier League goals, guess how many games it took Torres?
40, 50?
52. So,
yeah.
It's just, it seems, when's the last time Costa scored a Premier League goal? It seems like it's been forever.
Costa?
Yeah. Was it,
Before this game, the last time he scored a goal in the Premier League was against...
Was it the Arsenal game?
Arsenal, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, that was before the international break, so...
Yeah, he scores when he wants, man.
yeah, he does. Costa's sort of been in the news recently, just with, well, first off, thank you, Del Bosque. I'm so happy you're not going to be...
yeah, oh, man.
Oh,
so
my God.
pumped when I heard that.
Yeah.
Let him rest. Yeah. But then we have Fabregas with a 2 to 3 week out with a hamstring tear, so...
so...
They're just passing it around on the Spanish team, just passing around hamstring.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, oh, you want one? I have one. I can give you a hamstring injury. No problem.
Yeah. I mean, it's just it's pretty much getting passed around. And then just this little story. If this isn't true that this actually happened, I read that this happened at the beginning of the season when he first came into training. But it's just something that during practice, something about Oscar, or he instructed Oscar to round up the 3 toughest players on the squad. And Oscar came back with Terry, Ivanovic, Cahill, and Cahill at the end of it said that Costa raised his fist towards them and growled, "I go into battle, you come with me."
Yeah, I read that too. That's I think it's out of the Mirror, and the guy's saying he doesn't know if it's true or not, but that's the stuff of legend, and I could not be happier whether it is or not, because that guy's a warrior. He is. He definitely really inspires the rest of his teammates to play harder just by showing his own spirit. People are, and fans obviously love that. They love a guy who's gonna really go out there and fight for the team. Who puts the team on his back and wears the colors with pride. And I think that whether that story is true or not, you can see that that's the kind of respect he gets from the players on the team. Like when he scored that goal too, and every single Chelsea player is coming out there. Obviously not with Courtois, but. Everyone wants to go and celebrate it with him, and he's got the backing, as you would say, or maybe even the respect of his teammates already, and for good reason.
Yeah, yes, absolutely, I agree with that. And there was another story that came out that something that I guess it was when he was growing up, that him and his brother couldn't play on the same team because they get in a fight. And that honestly doesn't surprise me. All
right, well, I don't want to throw you under the bus, big bro, but I also have a brother, and that was a problem of ours as well. So I can definitely see that being the case, and it's just that he has that competitive spirit, man. It shows through his shirt. You know what I mean? Like playing with a ripped shirt, not caring, not even noticing, not even noticing it appeared. You know, the guy, he's a warrior. He's in it for the blood and the glory and the glory, and he clearly is willing to take the beating all game in order to get his goal. Like him and Skirtle, like letting him know. I love that he got into Skirtle early on. If you noticed after that, Skirtle didn't mess with him at all. Didn't bother him. Didn't do anything any of the things that he did when he was facing him for Slovakia versus Spain. So I think that either he got in his head, or when he pushed him down that one time, he's like, "This is what's going to happen." You know, I'm not afraid of showing you who I am, and I think that Skirtle's a player who likes to impose himself on opposing attackers, and he couldn't do that this game.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned that, because it sort of seemed like Skirtle didn't want to really mess with him in the game, like at the beginning, and then Costa kind of had to go at him, and it was a cheap shot. He probably should have got a yellow card. Actually, no, not probably. He definitely should have got a yellow card for it.
Yeah, he should.
When Mignolet come out for the ball, and Skirtle was kind of shielding him off, and Costa just kind of threw a shoulder into him.
Threw a shoulder right in the back of him, dude. There was no way that was anything but a foul and a card. But I think that Anthony Hamilton didn't want to let it get into that, you know, early. But it was clearly a foul, clearly a card, and he did get his yellow eventually, but it was for the accumulation of fouls. So but unfortunately, I was his fourth, which is kind of annoying, because if he gets another one, he's going to have a suspension. And you know that's true, but other teams are going to know that about him, and they're going to try to go at him and get him to lose his cool, which he does not do, by the way. If you notice that, he's not easily he can be provoked to shout at people and stuff, but he's not, you know, he's not hitting people. He's not trying to elbow people behind the play and stuff like that. So I'm happy that he gets into it with other people, but he has the ability to keep that.
Yeah.
And one of those should even be a yellow. The one from Everton, not Everton. He was carded for diving when there was contact.
Yeah.
Early in the season.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's Mourinho said too. He's like, this is going to be an issue, because what happens if he gets 5 and he has to be suspended, and one of them was for a garbage call, you know?
Yeah. Yep. And this is because you get one match ban for accumulations.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so what I would do, our first game back is against West Brom, Saturday, November 22nd. I would send Costa out, and I would say your only mission this game is to score a goal and get a yellow card, because their next Premier League game is against Sunderland, and the one after that is against Tottenham. So, yeah. So I would tell Costa, go out and just get a yellow card. Don't do anything stupid. Don't get a red card.
Yeah, but definitely just get a yellow card for some stupid foul. And
exactly. Towards the end of your shift in the game, just sort of come in to the back of someone. I'm not provoking Costa to be a dirty player or anything, but we all know Costa is a dirty player anyways. So no, not really, but yeah, I mean, it's a very Mourinho-like thing to do. And it honestly wouldn't surprise me if Mourinho told him to do that.
Yeah.
So
and Mourinho's been known to do it in the past. So we had that. Sergio Ramos did it once.
Yeah. I remember reading a story about that. I can't remember because we haven't had a player have yellow card accumulation yet. Correct?
No, we haven't had that happen. Not this season, at least.
Right. But I'm pretty positive that Fabregas is on 4 yellow cards right now also.
Oh, yeah, I think you're right. And it was so dumb, because one of them was that Crystal Palace garbage. And, I mean, that was so unnecessary. And
Yeah, because I think I remember reading something before the QPR game that someone said that they need to be careful with him in that game, because if he gets a yellow card, he'll miss the Liverpool game. I'm like 99%.
No, I'm pretty sure you're exactly right.
Yeah. So, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if Mourinho just told both of them, just hey, go out, because they're going to get another. Fabregas and Costa, just with the way that both of them play, they're both going to get another yellow card this season. Costa's going to get multiple yellow cards this season. So, just tell them, go out, get it out of the way against West Brom. We'll take care of business against West Brom. Take care of business against Sunderland without him. So, and then we had the midweek game against Schalke after West Brom. So, Um, so yeah, not quite looking forward that far, but just kind of looking at that.
Yeah, so I mean, I feel like looking ahead, if there's going to be any issues with cards, I would look at our back line first and foremost, and then work our way up towards the front. I'm less worried about Costa than I am about someone like Cahill, Terry, Aspie, Ivanovic.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting going forward, just to see, if if Mourinho does anything like that. Like I said, it wouldn't surprise me. He may do it, he may not. I'm just saying, just thinking from a fan's perspective, it'd be smart to do that. So I guess the next thing, before we just kind of wrap up the game here, I mean, the rest of the game, up until the 75th-ish minute, we pretty much dominated play. There's not really any denying that we dominated the game.
Yeah, no denying that at all.
Yeah, and there was, the 75th minute came. It kind of irks me that it seems like week in and week out, we get this lead late in games, and it wasn't as apparent this game of shutting things down. Actually, let me jump back before I go into shutting things down. One last thing to round up the Diego Costa thing. I don't know if people have seen this, but the Chelsea Megastore, they have a new item on the. Actually, I don't know if it's new, but this is the first time I've seen it. A new item in stock for $8. You can get a pair of Diego Costa socks.
Really?
Yeah, they are black, and the toes and heels are blue. Or no, just the toes. No, the toes and heels are blue. It's got a picture of Diego Costa on the shin. It's got the Chelsea, the dragon thing, like on Costa's neck, and the number 19 on them. I think I'm gonna buy me a pair just because they look pretty sweet. Yeah, but yeah, just if you go to Chelsea Megastore, and it's under Christmas. If you go to Christmas and then stocking fillers, you'll find Diego Costa socks on there. So,
nice.
Yeah, so just looking out for you guys, those of you like myself that are fans of socks. One day I hope to be rich enough to be able to buy new socks week in and week out.
Week out instead of washing them?
Exactly. I hate washing socks. The very few things in life are better than the feeling of a fresh pair of socks.
Very
nonetheless, back to business though. So yeah, I mean, we kind of set up shop. We kind of were letting Liverpool bring it towards our defense. Honestly, I feel like the only real threat they were was what was it, the 86th, 87th minute. Cahill, for those of you FIFA players like myself that like to do the left trigger or L2 and flick the right stick to the left, I believe, and do the dead fish celebration. Cahill seems to like to do that in the game, and he did it here. And honestly, this should have been a handball. There's no denying that.
Say, but that's a clear handball, and it's stupid because that shot is never challenging Courtois. It's never challenging a keeper of Courtois' quality. Never. Why? No need for you to throw yourself in. Like, I know it's no time and a split-second decision. You don't have time to think about it. That's something he's got. You have to know better than to do that. In a game like that, and making the referee's job easy by handing him a gift of a call like that, I can't believe that he blew it because he really did.
Yeah, and the ref was in a good position. I mean, he was right outside the 18-yard box.
Oh, he saw the whole thing. I can't imagine he bottled it. He bottled it.
Yeah. The only thing I could possibly think of was that it just kind of didn't look like a handball because Cahill's arm was sort of by his side.
Yeah, he tucked it. And he definitely tucked it, and it came off his body a little bit. It's also the way it bounced off. I think the ref just assumed it hit his chest because of the way it bounced down straight up.
Yeah, because it's not like it took some crazy deflection. Like, if the ball were to hit off his chest it would have done the same thing.
Exactly. I think that's what the referee must have assumed, because he's standing right there. He's maybe 6 to 7 yards away. It's hard to miss that unless you're, blinking as it happens. But even that being said, I think that the fact that he feels he needs to make that kind of a challenge, I don't know. There's parts of his game that doesn't seem like they're the qualities of a top defender. Like, someone there should know, I can trust my keeper with this. Steven Gerrard, lefty, bobbler, isn't going to challenge many keepers. No offense to Steven Gerrard, he's obviously a great striker of the ball, but I just don't see that being necessary. So why bother putting yourself in the situation where it could end up being penalized?
Right, and I'm looking back at it now, and I need to flip past this because Gerrard, the face he's making is kind of scary. But Cahill, if Terry wasn't in the position that he's in, this game is 2-2, because after it hits Cahill, that ball's probably going in the net.
It's going in, yeah.
It's definitely going on target. Courtois may save it, but probably not. But then if you look, like the slow-mo view they showed from behind Gerrard, if Cahill doesn't touch that, it's going right at Courtois.
Yeah, he's gonna save it. That's what I'm saying. He doesn't have to be doing it. There's no reason for you to get yourself in that kind of a situation where you might end up handballing. You can see his reaction afterwards. He knows he handballed it.
Yeah, and that would have been it would have tied the game 2-2. Both goals would have been deflections off of in the 88th minute, and both would have been deflections off of Cahill.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, you're right.
I didn't think of that until I just, when I watched the replay and saw that it was probably going in. But yeah, I mean, and it wasn't the first time he did it that game, and it's not the first time he's done it this season. And there was a cry again earlier in the game. I don't remember when. I think it was in the first half after we equalized. But there was a shot, and Cahill threw a shoulder into it, and there was no way it was a handball anyways, because it hit him right on the shoulder. But yeah, I mean, it wasn't the first time that Cahill made a dive at a ball like that.
Yeah, I remember that we were talking about too. There was a big shout, but obviously it wasn't what anybody thought it was. I don't know. His decision making can be better, and I feel like playing with a player like John Terry, that's the whole reason they want him in there for England and for Chelsea, is for the experience. And I feel like he needs to be learning more than he is, or than he apparently is. This could have just been a blip, but the way his season's been going, and as you and I have discussed in past episodes, he's just not been top shape if he really wants to be a defender on a top team. So that's really my only issue with him.
Yeah, and I would agree with that. I mean, I think that's all that I have on the game. So the floor is open to you before we look ahead. The floor is open to you to discuss anything that you would like pertaining to the game.
Most of them are from the first half and just the way we started the game and also the way we continued it. I love the way we came out pressing. Regardless of the fact that we conceded early, I think our attitude was good from the front back as far as just setting the tone for the rest of the team. Costa pressed high, Hazard pressed high, and Liverpool couldn't handle it for large spells of the game. And as Mourinho said in his post-match comments, we were able to exploit their weak points, and we were able to capitalize on their mistakes, which was essentially all we were doing in the first half, was forcing them to make mistakes, whether it be Mignolet kicking it out, whether it be Johnson getting beaten by Hazard. And I think that we also played to our strengths very well, which is something we haven't done in every game this season. And true to our this season's history, we scored within the first 15 minutes, which is when we scored most of our goals. Very pleased to see Ramirez come back and do a good job, do a very solid job. And I was impressed with Ivanovic on Sterling, who I thought was going to be their most dangerous player. And I also loved the fact that we were still able to play quick, incisive passing through the midfield when we needed to. Matic, obviously top of the line, man of the match for, I think, most, if not all, media outlets, and definitely for me. But I love the fact that we never brought in Mikel. We never closed down shop. We never gave them the idea that, hey, we're going to just try to play for the win now, so you guys can come at us, even though that's what happened. This is the first game I think we've been able to do a podcast after where we haven't talked about how we have brought in Mikel and closed the game out. So I'm happy we kept up our game and we tried to play it out until the 95th minute when it finally ended. But that's a different that's a different aspect of Chelsea that we just haven't had recently. We haven't had we haven't had a game where we didn't feel like we needed to just shut it down. He brought in Felipe Luis, but that's hardly a solely defensive sub as Mikel usually is.
Yeah, exactly. And the Luis thing, just briefly, is that obviously Luis is a fullback, but Luis is very good going forward. So, like you said, it's not a complete defensive shutdown substitution like Mikel is.
Yeah, because he brought on Drogba first. Drogba came on for Costa.
Yeah.
And that was a very positive substitution, obviously. Drogba the first thing he does when he comes in is wins a chest off of Skirtle. So his impact was immediate and positive. And I love the fact that they have to worry about now a bigger guy than they were just defending. And he's fresh. So Mourinho, I think he did the right thing today with not closing down shop, not bringing in Mikel and or Ake if he was going to be in that position. We kept up our game, and that really forced them to be honest. They couldn't go pouring forward on counters because they had to keep an eye on our players who were obviously willing to counter whenever we could.
Exactly. So, do you have anything else just to wrap the game up here?
No, I think that was just another 3 points, and especially on the road. Kind of mad we always concede, but at Liverpool I was expecting that, as we said in the prior podcast. So moving forward, we're in better position than we've been in a while. We've gone to the Etihad, we've gone to Anfield, we've gone to Goodison, we've gone to Old Trafford, and we've taken 8 points from 12. So very few teams could say that they've done so, and the blue flag goes marching on.
Yeah, it's it's not even Thanksgiving yet, and we've already played 4 probably going to finish top 7 teams on the road. So
yeah, and done very, very well, I might add. I think that's November curse might be over, man.
I know. Yeah, it'll be interesting. Obviously the month isn't over yet, but we have. I almost had December's games there, but we have 3 games left in November. Three very winnable games. West Brom. Let me just pull standings up here. But I haven't watched a ton of West Brom this season. Maybe I'll do some digging. Maybe we'll kind of go behind enemy lines, and maybe I'll try and find a West Brom blogger out there that would like to join us next podcast. If anyone knows of any West Brom fans or bloggers or anything that would want to come on, maybe we'll have them featured. But West Brom, 13th in the table right now with 13 points, just 1 point behind Tottenham and Liverpool and Everton.
Yeah. So it's still pretty tight in mid-table, as Manchester United could tell you. There's a lot of teams who are only 1 win away from being either 13th or 7th. So I think that's going to be a good game. Seidel Berahino's a very good forward. He's got an England call-up. He's dangerous, as is Dawson, their defender. He's good in set pieces. I think really the only worry we're going to have is Berahino and Sessegnon. Sessegnon's a good player.
Yeah, both of them were. I think Sessegnon got one of the goals in the Man United game. It was a Monday game a couple weeks ago, but yeah, but him and Berahino were both. They were both. They were both a force to be reckoned with. And then our last November game, we'll get into the Schalke thing here in a second, but our last November game against Sunderland, maybe a fellow Yank. Josie out the door. Maybe we'll get to see him get featured against Chelsea. Probably not. But but as of right now, Sunderland, they are 14th in the table. Yeah, they're 1 point behind West Brom. So yeah,
just one final thing about Liverpool and points in the table.
Yeah, go ahead.
Currently, obviously, everybody knows we're first, which is where we should be, and we're on points. Or if we continue this, we're on pace to get an average of 100 points. And I'm going to get into this Liverpool thing after I read this quote by Arsene Wenger today. Quote, "At the moment, Chelsea are on course to get an average of 100 points this season. If they keep that up, nobody will catch them, that's for sure. There doesn't look to be anybody capable to challenge them at the moment." End quote. That's them being 12 points behind us currently. But Liverpool are 15 points behind us, which is one more point than they currently have. Think about that.
Yeah.
They have less points than the gap between us.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's just, I love to be able to know that, to remind people of that, and just to revel in the fact that when it comes to his second season, Mourinho usually gets it right. Because this is something I don't think any Chelsea team has started this well in, if ever, in a long time. And this is all down to fantastic transfer work in the offseason, not even in the offseason, starting last January, and getting the players we need and working the system, getting the players to believe in the system, and the fruits are really beginning to show.
Yeah, and that was I'm glad you said about the table thing because I plan on bringing it up, but yeah, every team outside of the top 3 right now is closer to the relegation zone than they are to Chelsea.
Wow.
Yeah, West Ham currently sits in 4th. They are just as close to last place than they are to first place.
Wow. Oh my god.
Yeah, they are. We have 29 points. Well, West Ham and Swansea are tied for 4th right now, but with Swansea, thank you for beating Arsenal this morning. Thank you so much.
Oh my god, I don't even know what to say. I don't want to get too early into it. If their coach is saying that no one's going to catch us and doesn't look like anybody's capable of catching us or even challenging us at the moment, then that's perfectly fine because it's 2 times when we conceded from. I mean, they've lost goal leads that were against teams they should have beaten. So I'm really not even worried about Arsenal right now. When we have them on the radar again, I'm sure that'll be worth talking about. But I couldn't be more happy with the way we're playing and the fact that we're so far ahead of our major rivals.
Yeah. Like I said, I mean, West Ham and Swansea both have 18 points. They're 11 points behind Chelsea, and Burnley has 7 points, and they're in last place, and they have 7 points, and they're 11 points above Burnley. So that's insane.
Yeah.
And even if you want to look past that, you could just say, Arsenal's closer to last place than they are to Chelsea in first. So, yeah, it's the way that we're not going to get into the Invincibles talk, but right now. But yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting. And the Southampton thing, Southampton has been they've been very well this season, but something I'd like to point out, they just. I mean, I'm looking back through their fixtures now, and for some reason their website is shit, and I can't get back through all the fixtures right now. But have they really played any of the big dogs yet? I mean,
who's that? West Ham?
No, I'm sorry, I said Swansea. No, Southampton.
I don't think Southampton have played any of the traditional, as you would say, I guess traditional top 4 teams. But I'm just going to confirm that right now. I think that they have played maybe one. I think maybe they played Everton. I just need to.
They've played. All
right, here they're.
They've played Tottenham.
Yeah, but I don't count Tottenham as a top team.
Well, yeah. I meant that as in.
I couldn't help it. I had to.
No. It's all good. But that's. I need to find a better schedule than that. But yeah, I mean, Pochettino, what he's done with Southampton this year is phenomenal.
Coleman.
Pochettino.
Coleman. You thinking him because you said Tottenham?
Yeah.
But he's in trouble, Mr. Pochettino, right now.
He is. But yeah, I mean, we're gonna find out very soon how good Southampton is because their next game is November 24th against Villa, and then their next 3 games after that is at home versus Man City, at Arsenal, and then at home against Man United.
Yeah, so they're gonna find out. They're gonna find out just how good they really are in a short span of time.
Yeah, and then after that 3-game stretch, they play at Burnley, then at home against Everton, then at Crystal Palace, and then they host us on December 28th.
Oh yeah, because that's going to be an issue because we're going to have a game I think 2 days before that.
Yeah, it'll be like the Man United thing. Yeah, I think we
play literally 2 days before that.
I have the fixture list up now. Yeah, we play West Ham the day after Christmas on a Friday, and then 2 days later we play Southampton on a Sunday.
2 days
Because I
later, dude. That's be a
and
big game.
and
If
we have
Rangers still
Sky
play.
and we have Sky Sports to thank for that. Thank you for being cunts and fixing the schedule like that. Just because you want to put it on TV,
Yeah, so people can see it. Like a
bastards. God forbid people want to see this team. Um, but yeah. I mean, like I said, we've agreed in the past we're not going to get into the Invincibles talk, until 2015 at the absolute earliest. But yeah, just looking at the table, it's really incredible what Chelsea's done this season thus far. Just to round up, we're gonna have a rematch. Well, not a rematch, but we're gonna get a chance to play against the man that I don't wish that he was still the manager, but I think he should still be the manager. Robert Di Matteo.
Yeah.
Tuesday, November 25th, Champions League game against Schalke.
I can't wait to face them.
I know. It'll be interesting to see how they are. I haven't really kept close tabs on them, but I want to say there was a rumor that Draxler had some type of injury that he may miss the rest of the season or something. A couple weeks ago, I don't know if this is really. I shouldn't have brought that up without confirming that, but I thought I read something that he was facing some kind of issue or something that he was going to miss an extended period of time. So I don't know if he'll be in that game or not. But yeah, I mean it'll be interesting to see that this it's his first managerial job since Chelsea, correct?
Yes, I think he has been out of a job since then. So
That's what I thought. Since then he's done his thing with Heineken for the Champions League games.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean I'm excited to play him. I think I do wish that it was at home, but it's whatever though. It'll be interesting to see how the players that were on the squad then react to him.
I wonder if there's going to be any songs of One Di Matteo when they're at the Schalke. Dude, that'd be awesome. But I loved it, man. I loved RDM. There was really only one RDM. So
Yeah, I agree with that. So yeah, I mean, I think that we've gone in depth to pretty much everything you could ask for in this podcast for only having one game. I feel we went in pretty in depth and covering everything. So is there anything else that you have just to round things up here?
yeah, so I think that just the fact that we're clear of our nearest opponent by 4 points in the table, and we're clear of teams like City by 8 points, teams like Arsenal by 12, United 13, like Liverpool 15. Tottenham 15. I think Wenger's right. I think that if we continue playing the way we're playing, there's no way anyone's catching us, even if Southampton continues to play as well as they are. And no offense to them, I just don't see them keeping it up all season.
Yeah, and it's just them and West Ham both. West Ham, I wrote a preview at the beginning of the season, an EPL preview that I think I predicted West Ham to come in 10th. I think that a lot of people discounted what Big Sam did in the transfer window. I thought he brought in a lot of quality players. Sacco has been phenomenal for him. I thought that Zarate's, from what I've seen, Zarate's done well. So yeah, it's interesting to see that this far in. I know it's only 11 games, but at the same time, it's nearing a third of the way through the season. So it's interesting to see that there's still two teams that weren't expected to fare very well this season that are still that are in the top four.
Yeah,
so
exactly. I mean, and I'm waiting to see if City can get their heads out of their butts, because somehow over there something's not right. And I mean, the fact is, if Aguero's not playing in the form that he's in, they're losing far more than the games that they've already lost. So I think that it's definitely notable that they're not looking like themselves, at least not as the champions of last season.
Yeah,
if they continue misfiring, that'll be our saving grace, because I don't see anyone else catching us.
Exactly. And I think I read something the other day that I think Aguero scored like 54.5% of Man City's goals this year, or something like that.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but I feel like I saw that the other day. But yeah, I mean, Aguero has been playing phenomenal this year, and I agree. I think that if City that they don't want to pull Liverpool and let this opportunity slip, that then they just kind of we're already up 8 points on City right now.
Yeah,
So
8 points.
yeah, yeah, I think that the Champions League thing might be playing a factor into how City's playing right now. So. The only other thing I have is that we have claimed our first trophy of the season. I don't know if you heard in Mourinho's interview. I think it was we're recording this on a Sunday. I think he interviewed today in an interview today or maybe last night that we are Mourinho crowned us the champions of autumn.
Oh yeah, yeah. And
So
the guy was trying to get him to say like, oh yeah, like we'll definitely be champions, or like it's like he wants to see how. Or he wanted to see if Mourinho would accept the fact that we're favorites. You know what I mean? Like just to say.
yeah.
And
I don't think that Mourinho is going to claim us as title favorites until mathematically we've won the title.
Yeah, he won't do it. I don't want him to do it. I don't want him.
Exactly.
I hate that. I really hate how every week they want people to be like, so are they going to win the title? Like, dude, it's November. The season ends in May. Like, you could take your time. You know, there's no reason for everybody to be, putting a date on it, as I like to say. I think that people should really just watch the season. Everybody knows the Premier League season is full of drama and full of, huge turnarounds and upsets, and there's no way to actually make a guess about who's going to win right now unless you really had to. But I think it's nonsense to do that. I think that Mourinho knows that better than anyone. You want to call the season now and then in 4 months blow it. It's happened. It's happened to plenty of teams. Everybody slips, right, Liverpool?
Exactly. And remember, at this point, last season, or maybe it wasn't at this point, but at one point, Arsenal had this gigantic. Well, not gigantic. It wasn't like this season, but they had a sizable lead at the top, and it happened to Arsenal last year. People were crowning them champions before 2013. The year was even over with, and it was even into the second half of the season. So
they got to April and just, as we like to say in certain places in New Jersey, shat the bed.
Yeah. So yeah, it's there's still plenty of time left. I'm not going to crown us anything other than champions of autumn. I hope that we don't slip up in the last 3 games in November. We've looked very well in our games in November. We should have beat Maribor, but that's whatever.
Yeah,
so
I got a lot of crap about that from people, but I know that when we do finally lose, which Mourinho said he believes we will, when we do lose, people are going to make far more out of it than it should be.
Exactly.
It's ridiculous because looking at our record and looking at the teams we've beaten and or not lost to, there's no denying our quality. So I think it's going to be a whole lot of hogwash when we do finally win. When we do finally lose. But it'll be kind of sobering. It'll be good. Even if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, I don't really care. I just want to win the title. I don't care if that means with 1 loss or 3 or 5 or 7.
Exactly. So do you have anything else to wrap it up there?
Nope, I'm all set.
All right. So yeah, let's wrap. We have, for the last time, I promise, unless Carefree Blues becomes available, we have changed the Twitter handle for the last time. It is at Carefree Blue Pod, because Carefree Blues _ just kind of makes it seem like a fan account, and it does. Well, obviously we are fans, but it kind of makes it seem like a bot account, and just putting pod in there just kind of it lets people know what we're looking for. Like if we follow a Chelsea fan or something, that they're not going to be like, oh, this is just some random Chelsea fan looking to mass follow people or anything like that. So. Yeah, so we're looking to be more active on there now that I think that I think the S missing, even though it's Carefree Blues Podcast, the S missing is no big issue. So yeah, you can follow the podcast at Carefree Blue Pod. Promise we're going to start being more active on there, as well as on my Twitter account if you prefer the 140 character kind. Many people can't stand to listen to me talk over long periods of time, so maybe Twitter is for you. You can find me at KBJelly on Twitter, and Everything Soccer on the Soccer Yanks website at www.socceryanks.com, and Everything Carefree Blues. Plan on start writing again, just some things that I've been busy with lately over the last month, and especially this podcast. I like focusing a lot of energy on the podcast because it's something fun that that me and Omni look forward to every week. So you can find everything blog-wise and podcast-wise at socceryanks.com/carefreeblues. Amity, go ahead and let everyone know where they can find you.
You can find me on Twitter at Amadoit. That's Amadoit. You can find me on Vine as at 6 Second Savage, and I'm also on Twitter at 6 Second Savage. That's the number 6 and then the word second and savage. I'm also writing for Chelsea Index, and that's a site, chelseaindex.com. Obviously, Chelsea specific, tactics, strategy, game reviews, previews, individual player profiles, and all the pictures of Jose Mourinho you could possibly want. And I'm also writing for World Soccer Talk and managing their social media, so definitely follow us on all our platforms. That's Google+, Facebook, Twitter, what have you. Even on Instagram, I post some really wacky pictures on there. I'm sure you'd love to see them. I'm also writing a weekly match team of the week for every match week, so that's BPL only. So if you want to check that out on worldsoccertalk.com, my name is Amity Tijen on there. And make sure you also follow me on Twitter for all the updates from all of those mediums. So I will be hopefully hearing from you. I hope everyone really is listening to the pod and feels free to reach out, because Kyle and I, we want the feedback. We want, the criticism. Could be positive or negative, doesn't matter. It's still good to hear from people. So, if you want to reach out to either of us on either of our handles, or definitely reach out to us on Carefree Blue Pod. And yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that, as I do with a lot of things that you say. It's, we love interacting with people. We haven't had anyone be hostile or anything, so that's always good. But yeah, just, interact with us. If there's something that we said that you disagree with, if you think that Balotelli is setting the world on fire, then go ahead and convince me. But, it's always good just as a, I don't want to say journalist, because the term is very loose with the personalities that Amity and I both have. But yeah, I guess we'll call it that. But it's always good as a blogging point of view, just to get different points, different perspectives, the way other people see the game, and me and Dan have even had the conversation on Twitter and stuff before that. About how differently we both see the game, and it's not, neither way is wrong. It's not bad that people see the game differently. There's nothing wrong with that at all. So yeah, that's there's plenty of outlets to follow Amity and I both on, and just this one a little bit of a longer episode. So if you listen, we want to thank you for listening this long. It's going to won't quite be the marathoner of the Arsenal game, but yeah, just thank you for listening. We both really appreciate it. If you guys enjoyed it, be sure to rate and review on iTunes, YouTube, just anywhere, wherever you're listening to this. Give us feedback, and whether it be Twitter or whatever. So stay carefree wherever you may be. We are out.